The pituitary gland right here. You can see how chronic it is. Okay, and right here on this side here is the mastoid and medulla. You can also see it's quite chronic. You have a very thick skin ring. This is often due to a weak thyroid, okay, and also poorly filtering kidneys. The bowels are also quite chronic. You have a very prominent autonomic nerve wreath around the bowels. See that white going around the bowels? That indicates that you have weak digestion, okay? So this needs to be fixed. There's also a malabsorption ring around the pupil right here. This indicates that you're not absorbing nutrients properly due to mucus plaque blocking the small intestines. You have quite a bit of lymph stagnation. All that white you see here, that's lymph. Okay, it's covering almost every organ, tissue, and gland. And as well as that, you have small white bead-like things over here. This is called a lymph rosary. It indicates that your lymph nodes are swelling or not working properly. It needs to be detoxed. You also have fine lines leaching out of the pupil. This indicates radii solaris, which means that there's toxic ton of waste leaching out to other body parts and glands, especially the head region. You have a weak thyroid gland here and a weak parathyroid gland here as well. The parathyroid is what makes use of calcium. When you see the tissue integrity issues like the bowels here, often due to a weak parathyroid. You also have the thyroid. It explains the big thick skin ring. Okay, so when you have a weak thyroid, you're going to have a skin ring here because you're not sweating properly. You're not eliminating waste properly as well through the skin. Sweating helps to release waste, and also your metabolic rate might be slow or low. The throat section right here is heavy with lymph, and the middle upper lower back region is heavy with lymph. They actually have lymph nodes in the back region as well, so this needs to be cleared up. See right here, you can see weak kidneys and adrenals. You can see it's to the chronic, getting to the chronic side, heavy lymph stagnation. Right here you can see weak adrenals and weak kidneys. You can see the white streak right there, so it's heavily congested with lymph, which will explain why you're not filtering the lymph properly, and you have this thick white cloud-like look on the eye. That's heavy lymph from the poorly filtering kidneys. Right here is the pancreas and the ovaries or testes section. Okay, you can see it's quite heavy with lymph. Right here is the liver and gallbladder. You can see also quite heavy with lymph as well. It needs to be detoxed. Right here is the ribs section, and right here is the lower and upper lung region, also very heavy with lymph. The bowels are the most prominent thing here. You can see it's to the yellow side. This is subacute lymph stagnation, which means that it's moving to the chronic side of lymph stagnation and should be cleaned up. Okay, because you can see that the small intestines are quite prolapsed or contracted, and the transverse colon is quite chronic. And the ascending colon as well is also to the chronic side. So the bowels are quite constricted, in my opinion, and should be detoxed. So maybe use a GI cleaner. So go on 100% fruit diet. And use herbs for the kidneys, adrenals, the thyroid. And this should clear up nicely. Just stick to it. It can take some bit of time because you have quite a bit of lymph stagnation.